DogWorks Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com. You can support this podcast on patreon.com/firstpawmedia.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by First Paw Coffee Company, specializing in private label premium blend coffee. If you're serious about coffee, you should check it out. First Paw Coffee's passion is high-quality, small-batch roasted coffee. They take the extra time to taste and get everything perfect before they release new blends. They aim to bring you a cup of happiness each time you pour yourself some coffee. Find out more at ak.dog/free and enter for a chance to win some First Paw Coffee prizes, a book from our collection, and tote bag. One winner will be selected at random each month. That's ak.dog/free.
Pets are often like members of the family, so you might worry about what will happen if you're no longer around to take care of them. This is a very important show and kind of an eye-opener for me. If you follow us on social media, you may have heard that I had a bit of a health scare and ended up in the hospital. While it was nothing major, just a bad kidney stone, I did end up spending the night in the hospital, and for the first time in more than 25 years, I was not home to take care of my dogs. Setting up a pet trust to benefit your pet can put your mind at ease, and you don't have to be a billionaire to do it. If you are in a very unique position like my husband and business partner Robert and I, this is something very important that you will need to listen to. As the owner of not only Alaska Dog Works, we are also operating a sled dog kennel with 37 dogs. They are expensive, and we want to make sure we have done the right thing now so that they will be cared for in the event that something tragic happens to us.
From First Paw Media, sponsored by Alaska Dog Works Professional Canine Training Center in Anchorage, Alaska. This is DogWorks Radio, committed to families and their dogs to build lifelong and fulfilling relationships. Visit our website at dogworksradio.com. Now here are your hosts, Robert and Michele Forto.
Hello and welcome to DogWorks Radio. This is your host, Michele Forto, and I am the lead trainer of Alaska Dog Works. Here, we help owners and their dogs have better relationships. On today's show, we are talking about pet trust and why you might think about setting one up for your pet. Oh, and one last thing before we get started, you may notice a little change in the format to our show. I hope you like it. Let's jump into it, shall we? So, why a pet trust? A trust is a legal entity that holds property and money for beneficiaries. Is a good option to care for a pet because you can't leave property, cash, or life insurance money directly to an animal. Pet trusts got a dubious reputation after hotel heiress Leona Helmsley left $12 million in trust for her white Maltese Trouble and nothing to 2 of her 4 grandchildren. A year after Helmsley died in 2007, a judge reduced the dog's trust to $2 million. Trouble lived in the lap of luxury until she died at age 12 in 2011. Trouble's original trust may have been excessive, but pet trusts make sense in some situations, and life insurance can be a good way to fund them, says Jerry Beyer, co-author with Barry Seltzer of Fat Cats and Lucky Dogs, How to Leave Some of Your Estate to Your Pet. If you care about your pet, you need to make proper arrangements and plan, says Beyer, a professor at the Texas Tech University School of Law. Too often, he adds, family members do not want to be bothered, and the animal ends up at the pound. Your pet may be part of the family, but the law considers animals property. That's why you can't leave money directly to your pet. You might as well leave money to your desk or your car, buyer says. There are 3 primary options. So the 3 main ways of planning for pet care after your death go as follows. A traditional trust. You can set up a traditional trust for a pet. With a traditional trust, you provide instructions for the pet's care, appoint a caregiver, and name a trustee to manage the money. If you fund the trust with life insurance, you name the trustee as the beneficiary and include the name of the trust on the document. Your life insurance company will tell you how to word the designation. You can also designate a portion of a life insurance policy to go to the pet trust and the remainder to go to other beneficiaries, such as your children. A statutory pet trust. With a statutory pet trust, you put a simple direction in your will, such as, I leave $5,000 in trust for the care of Rover, buyer says. The probate court will fill in the gaps, appointing people to provide care and oversee the money. Minnesota is the only state that does not recognize statutory pet trusts, but buyer expects that to change. The downside of a statutory pet trust is it doesn't let you leave detailed instructions for the pet's care. And that leads us to a pet protection agreement. If you don't need to leave substantial money for the care of a pet, another option is a do-it-yourself pet protection agreement available through LegalZoom. The agreement, created by animal law and estate attorney Rachel Hirschfield, lets you spell out instructions for care of your pets and is signed by both you and the pet guardian, making it legally binding. A traditional trust gives you the most latitude in financially planning for the pet's care, buyer says. You can spell out the details from what your pet should be fed to how often he should see the vet to where he should sleep. If you're using life insurance to provide the pet care money, you'll need to decide what type of policy makes the most sense considering your age and the pet's age. Term life insurance will cover you for a certain number of years, such as 10, 20, or 30. If you're likely to outlive your pet and you want coverage in case you die prematurely, term life will work. If your pet is likely to outlive you, a permanent life insurance policy, which covers your entire lifespan, is the best choice. It is also more expensive than term life insurance. So when do we need to consider a pet trust? Pet trusts are especially important if you have a pet with a long lifespan, says attorney Kim Bresant-Kibwe. The Trust, Estates, and Planned Giving Council for the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. African gray parrots, for instance, generally live 50 to 70 years. Horses usually live about 25 years, Bresant-Kibwe says, but I know of one who lived past 50. Some tortoises have been known to live more than 150 years. Pet trusts are also advisable for people with exotic pets, which would be hard to place in new homes, or for people with multiple pets. There are some mistakes to avoid. The pet trust that Helmsley set up for Little Trouble was problematic from the start. A judge reduced it at the request of the estate's trustee because it was so obviously excessive. It also ran into problems because the trust document directed Helmsley's brother or her grandson to care for the dog, but neither wanted to. So the trustees had to find someone else to provide care. To avoid such problems, follow these tips from Bresant-Kibwe when setting up a pet trust. Talk to the people you want to care for your pets to make sure they're willing to do it. Choose a trustee who is different from the pet caregiver. This provides a system of checks and balances. Name successors for the trustee and caregiver in case either is unable to perform the role. Get referrals for estate attorneys who have handled pet trusts before. Ask your local animal welfare organization for names. Be reasonable with the amount you set aside for your pet so the trust doesn't become a target for disgruntled relatives. Designate where the remainder of the money in the trust will go when the pet dies. An animal welfare organization is a good option. Don't designate the remaining money for the caregiver, Bressant Gibway advises. That would give the caregiver reason to want the animal to die sooner and perhaps skimp on care. You can designate money in the trust to compensate the caregiver while the animal is alive. Provide detailed instructions. Don't assume your caregiver and trustee will know how your pet should be taken care of. Thinking about what would happen to your pets if something happened to you is part of being a responsible pet parent, Bressant Gibway says. We don't want pets to end up at the doors of shelters, she says. To find the right coverage amount and compare prices, use NerdWallet's life insurance comparison tool. What do you think? Is a pet trust something you might need to consider? Let us know in the comment section if you are listening on social media. We're going to take a short break here, and when I come back, we're going to talk about the Russell Terrier.
So earlier, you learned about First Paw Coffee Company. Now I'm going to tell you about its Trailbreaker Blend. First Paw Coffee Company's Trailbreaker Blend is inspired by our love of the Northern Lights, frosty paws, and sled dog trails. How cool is that? The Trailbreaker Blend is a private label premium blend that was developed just for them. It's a medium dark roast from Central and South America, highlighting flavors of brown sugar, hazelnut, and plum. Be sure to go to ak.dog/free and enter to win a bunch of cool prizes. That's ak.dog/free.
Okay, guys, let's learn all about the Russell Terrier. Did you know that these little guys are one of my favorite breeds to train? Not only are they a real challenge for me, but they are so fun. One of my favorite clients had one of these little guys named Bobby when we lived in Denver. That little dog will always hold a special place in my heart. Upbeat, lively, inquisitive, and friendly, the jaunty Russell Terrier was developed by England's sporting parson for use in fox hunts. The adorable Russell Terrier looks like a plush toy come to life, but is an eager, tireless working terrier. About the Russell Terrier. These jaunty little fellows pack lots of personality into a compact rectangular body, standing just 10 to 12 inches at the shoulder. Their dark almond-shaped eyes and mobile V-shaped ears bring out the keenly intelligent expression, an endearing hallmark of the breed. All three coat types are mostly white with markings that are tan or black or both. Russells move with a free, effortless gait that announces the breed's innate confidence. Their temperament is alert, inquisitive, and lively. They are ranked 82nd out of 197 breeds. They are 10 to 12 inches high. They weigh between 9 and 15 pounds. They have a life expectancy of 12 to 14 years, and they are classified in the Terrier group. The Russell and Parson Russell Terriers share a common heritage as fox working dogs from the kennels of Reverend John the Sporting Parson Russell of the mid-1800s. Since the Parson's day, the lines of the two terriers have diverged and are now recognized as two distinctly separate breeds. Russells were bred to be swift enough to run with the hounds and tough but compact enough to go to ground and bolt prey. The Russell Terrier is a strong, active, lithe, predominantly white body working terrier of character with a flexible body of moderate length and rectangular profile. The overall dog must present a balanced image with no one part exaggerated over another. The Russell Terrier is full of life and moves with confidence that matches his keen expression. The coat may be smooth, broken, or rough, and may have tan and or black markings with no preference for coat type or markings. Tail docking is optional. The Russell Terrier should do well on a high-quality dog food, whether commercially manufactured or home-prepared, with your veterinarian supervision and approval. Any diet should be appropriate to the dog's age. Some dogs are prone to getting overweight, so watch your dog's calorie consumption and weight level. Treats can be an important aid in training, but giving too many can cause obesity. Learn about which human foods are safe for dogs and which are not. Check with your vet if you have any concerns about your dog's weight or diet. Clean, fresh water should be available at all times. The Russell Terrier's rough and ready appearance is easily maintained. Coats come in 3 types: smooth, broken, and rough. The dense, short, smooth coat can be kept looking great with an all-over rub down with a soft brush or a hound glove once a week. The rough and broken coats will require going over with a brush or a dog comb weekly, but are kept mostly natural with minimal grooming. Russell's nails should be trimmed monthly and his ears checked weekly for debris or excess wax and cleaned as needed. The Russell Terrier is not a breed for a couch potato family. High energy levels and a robust personality make this an excellent choice of breed for an outdoorsy family who takes lots of hikes, bike rides, and long daily walks. Finding games he loves to play will help keep his brain and his body exercised. A tired Russell Terrier is a good RT. With an almost limitless supply of energy, this makes a great companion dog for children who understand dogs. The breed has retained a strong prey drive, so should be very well socialized early on to circumvent any problems that might result from that trait. Training. The first tool one must have when training a Russell Terrier is a good sense of humor. They are extremely intelligent and love to work on problems and play games. They bore easily, so training sessions must be kept entertaining if you want them to learn. They master tricks easily and love entertaining people by performing. They throw themselves into any job or activity with the same dedication they were bred to have for hunting purposes. They are great choices for canine sports such as agility, flyball, obedience, rally, and even lure coursing. The majority of Russell Terriers are happy, healthy little dogs. Responsible breeders screen their stock for health conditions such as patellar luxation, which is loose kneecaps, deafness, and eye diseases, and are dedicated to preserving the genetic health of the breed by doing health testing on all their breeding stock. Recommended health tests from the National Breed Club are the BAER testing, an ophthalmologist evaluation, a patella evaluation, and a PLL DNA test. But did you know the ancestry of the breed combines the ultimate size, instinct, and construction for the working Earth Terrier? The Russell Terrier originated in England and was developed in Australia. The Russell Terrier is considered the ultimate working Earth Terrier, never bred for the bench. The Russell Terrier has been recorded in the Foundation Stock Service since October 2005. The Russell Terrier is the American Kennel Club's 175th breed. Would you like to learn more about how to train your Russell Terrier to be one of the best trained dogs? Head on over to alaskadogworks.com and click on the training tab to find out more. We are introducing a brand new weekly segment on the show. It is a tie-in to our other podcast, Mushing Radio. On this podcast, Robert and our friends Alex Stein and Karosh Parto talk about sprint mushing, the Iditarod, and interview dog drivers from around the world. You can hear that podcast right here on this feed. So, Robert, what is happening in the world of mushing this week?
So, Michele, as you know, we just finished up our daily coverage of the Iditarod. Alex and our friend Tony and I hosted for 13 straight nights. It's a very interesting time in Iditarod history. Not only did we have an entirely different race, but we also have a 5-time champion with Dallas Seavey. Coming up in the first week of April, we have the Kobuk 440, which is the longest mid-distance race in America. It is great for spring mushing anywhere in Alaska right now. You and I were just outside today with a couple of our friends, and not only do we have a lot of snow out there, but the trails are awesome. We are less than 100 days from the kickoff of the 50th anniversary of Iditarod. If you don't know, the Iditarod year, as they say, starts with the Iditarod Volunteer Picnic and Musher signups at the headquarters in Wasilla. And also, we hope that everything can work out well coming up in the next year, and we can have a 50th anniversary that is handled in real style, and looking forward to hopefully being at the ceremonial start, the restart, as well as potentially in Nome. And please stay tuned to Mushing Radio. We will air throughout the year. Michele, back to DogWorks Radio.
You know, I'm really looking forward to Iditarod 2022 and its 50th year and all of the fanfare that goes right along with it. So it is now time for our calendar of events for those that are listening locally on KVRF or our current and past clients. Stay tuned for important announcements. For our other listeners, stick around and you might learn something cool or of interest. March is Poison Prevention Awareness Month. And I'm going to put a little caveat to that, Robert. We had a little bit of a scare today when one of our sled dogs ingested a hand warmer that had been used for about 3 or 4 hours, and we're watching him closely. But those happen to be poisonous. So if you use those hand warmers out on the trail, do not discard them. Do your best not to lose them out on the trail, because if someone's dog ingests those, it could cause them some problems. March 23rd is National Puppy Day. In early April, we will be at the Matsu Outdoorsman Show at the Alaska State Fairgrounds in Palmer for this 3-day event. Come out and say hello. We like it when you do. And we will also have all of our First Paw coffee blends on sale, a bunch of gear, and you can learn all about our Adventure Dog Club just in time for spring. We are excited about this one. It was canceled last year because of COVID, but this year is supposed to be bigger than ever. Not only will we be there, but there will be food trucks, live events, demonstrations, and much more. This is the premier event for anyone that is interested in getting outdoors in Alaska. We will also have all of our wilderness athlete products for both our human and canine clientele. Come check that out as well. On April 17th, we will be starting our group classes in the park. They will be held at Wonderland Park in Wasilla at 11:30 a.m. These are free for our current and past clients and are part of your training packages. If you are not a client or just want to check us out, this is a great way to do so. We do have a nominal drop-in fee. We are gathering gear for our first ever nosework class and tri-ball, and Robert is going to do some more pack walks again too. If you want to get an idea of what we will be doing, head on over and watch the pack on Amazon Prime Video. It is a really cool show. Did you know that every Wednesday and Sunday night we do a Facebook Live at 7 p.m.? Be sure to check us out. If you missed the live broadcast, you can always tune in later too. And just so you guys know, I usually give you some great tips and tricks on those Facebook live shows. Also, stay tuned for more information about the Summer Festival, how you can train your dog to run in the Alaska Dogworks Dryland Derby this fall, and much more. As always, you can keep up to date by following us on our social channels. Just search Dogworks Radio, and for more training tips and tricks and to learn how to schedule a free discovery call to talk with us about how to make your dog one of the best, visit alaskadogworks.com. Oh, and one last thing, you guys. Did you know the single best thing you can do is tell your family and friends about our show? Why don't you send them a link to this episode, and they too will soon be a rabid listener.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by First Paw Coffee Company. Learn more at firstpaw.coffee.
From First Paw Media, this is Dogworks Radio. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you'll see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Robert and Michele Forto. Our producer is Robert Forto and created for First Paw Media. Did you know that Alaska Dogworks trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michele Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska Dogworks on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.